Welcome to Speedrunner Showcase, the show that's so consistent, every run is a PB. Today we're joined by Berserk, special guest who recently set a crazy sub 37 full game PB in Marble It Up. Why don't you say hello?
Hey everybody, great to be on the show.
It's exciting to have you here, and we're going to get started on the run right away, and then we'll get into a few questions. We'll hear a little bit about your speedrunning journey.
All right, let's do it.
Let's do it. Starting out right away on learning to roll, as always. And how are you doing at the time of this run? What was going on when you set this PB?
Well, when I was doing this run, it was after probably like 8 resets trying to get a good exit out of chapter 2.
Okay.
I was telling myself like I wanted to get a really good run, so I don't want to make any like silly mistakes in the beginning. So it
All
was a
right.
bit frustrating, but I'm glad I got to this point.
Nice. So you were doing some hard full game PB attempts when you landed this run. Were you streaming or just recording?
No, I was in a call with Boomerang when we were just doing some reset runs. So no streaming, but just recording, obviously.
Very cool. And how long ago was this run set?
I think this was, I want to say maybe a couple weeks ago, around that time. I haven't done one in a while, so it's a good estimate.
So mid to late January of 2022. And now we're looking forward to a big event coming up, which is the Super Bowl 2022. That's coming up on February 12th.
Oh yeah, I definitely wanted to get practice for that.
Definitely trying to get practice for that. And I'm really excited to see you in that event now because having a time in the top 10 puts you really in contention for one of those top spots.
Yeah, I'm glad I'm getting my RTA out before this, so I have some good good practice going into it, and I still have a lot of work to do before I feel like I'm fully ready. But yeah, I'm glad I'm getting through full game pretty well.
Cool. And yeah, we'll have lots of time to chat about all of those things. Not getting too far ahead of ourselves now. We're looking at chapter 1 time. That's going to be about a 204.
Definitely not too bad.
Not bad at all. That's quite solid. A very good start to get off to for a full game run. So coming into this early game, you said you had reset a few times trying to get a really good chapter 2. What kind of standards do you set for yourself on an early game that you would want for a good chance at a PB?
Well, I'm gonna be honest. I'm really bad with like being able to look at the timer at a certain point in the run and be like, "Oh, I'm on good pace," or "Oh, I'm on bad pace." It really depends on how much I mess up in the beginning. Like on chapter 2, if I'm messing up triple divide or thread the needle, which I actually do a lot, then I can tell, oh, all right, I'm already doing bad. So it's really just how well I do each individual level.
Yeah, so you're kind of going with a feel, and I notice you're not using splits on your live split timer up there in the
Yes,
top left. This is all going completely by the way you feel about the run up to this point.
Yeah, I've been told multiple times to do splits, and I've just been I was really lazy and haven't set them up. I haven't set up now, but now I'm not really doing that many runs, or at least not enough to where I feel I'm going to PB. So I've just got this like generic standard timer hooked onto the screen. I know it's kind of a pain for retiming, but
yeah, I mean, obviously it's great for viewers to see your splits and whatever, but you know, we say it over and over again. The splits are there to help you. So
yeah,
if you've been able to get a 36-minute full game without even using splits, without needing that help, you know what? More power to you because, you know, that's intended there to give you an idea of how you're doing. But apparently you don't need it to have some success at this. So very, very cool.
Thank you.
So Berserk, you've been playing Marble It Up for a little while now. Certainly not since launch or anything like that. Can you tell me how you got started?
Well, it's kind of an interesting story. I played Marble Blast Gold. It's like a childhood game back in like elementary school.
Love that game.
And my friend Twinks or M2K, he played Marble Blast Ultra as a kid,
Right.
and we didn't know about each other. We've been friends for like I'd say 5 years now.
Oh, that's cool.
And then his friend brought up Marble It Up to him, and then he was like, "Oh, I think I heard Berserk mention Marble Blast Gold in the past." So he brought it up to me, and that was 2021, and here we are still playing.
That was 2021. So, all of 2019, 2018, 2019, and 2020, you were not even a part of this game, and now you're already really approaching the top level of what a Marble It Up player can be in
I
the
was
RTA category.
definitely missing out in the early game, but yeah, I'm very happy with the progress I've made in the past year.
And yeah, it's been very swift and very impressive progress for sure.
Thank you.
Before RTA, you spent a lot of time in individual levels, similar to Twinks. And what have you accomplished in that realm of speedrunning?
I would say the general thing is trying to get my rating really high. I think I'm number 2 rating right now
Oh my
after
gosh.
improving as many times as possible. And I'm really happy about that because I enjoy going for time save and my world records as well. I'm still trying to optimize them because I'm not too happy with where they're standing, but I'm happy with the fact that I got all of them. I like all the levels that I have, except for Great Wall. So I just love everything in the IL category.
Oh, very, very cool. And so how many hours have you put into the game so far, mostly focused on those ILs?
I want to say, I think 1,200 now.
Man, in less than a year, that's some dedication for sure.
Definitely, I put a lot of time into this.
Very, very nice. Coming in toward the end of Chapter 2, and we're on a pretty solid early game so far. Quick little reset there on Triple Divide doesn't cost a lot of time.
I always get a weird start on there. I'm not sure why.
And we're looking at probably a sub-7 Chapter 2 finish. So I guess that was good enough for you to not reset and keep going, which is good because this is going to end up being a very, very swift run.
Definitely. I'm glad I got at least a decent run out of Chapter 2. My standard's kind of lower a little bit as I keep resetting because I get more impatient, but this was definitely very satisfactory Chapter 2 ending.
Very nice. Looking into Chapter 3, where some of the big skips are going to start coming in, are there any levels in particular that you're worried about or looking forward to at this point in the run when you're doing the attempt?
Very worried about Off Kilter. That is one level that I've never been able to figure out. It's always just a 50-50 shot for me. Either I make it or I don't.
Yep.
And also Cog Valley. I've gotten pretty good at Cog Valley, but every once in a while it just throws me a curveball and I totally mess it up.
Totally
But
mess
I
it
think
up.
everything in Chapter 3 went pretty well, especially since I made EA. Bit of a spoiler there.
Bit of a spoiler. Here's elevator action and nice and smooth getting up to the fastest version of it. So yeah, good job.
Thank you. I've noticed that when it comes to EA for me, I either miss it completely or make the fast version. I'm not sure why, but I'm glad I opted for the fast version on this run.
Interesting little second bounce there on the finish. I don't think I've seen a whole lot of people doing that before.
Yeah, I've never really focused on the ending pattern on there because I was so worried about making the actual skip. I just kind of like I make it and I'm like, all right, I got to go to the finish as fast as possible now. So I just send it.
Yeah, you got to be safe and you got to be quick for sure. So do what you're familiar with. Absolutely. Got a little bit of a nicey ascent in here. I'm seeing everybody do this strat. It looks so cool.
It's super fun. It's very satisfying and it's pretty easy to pull off. So it's a nice skip.
Very nice. And River Vantage, I'm going to be expecting a pillar hit, perhaps.
Definitely. I do wish, though, that I could set myself up for that edge hit better because I would love to take the opportunity to go for the edge hit, but I always have a hard bounce going towards it, and I don't know why I can never get set up for it.
It's rare for everyone.
Yeah,
but when it does happen, it can definitely be very, very exciting. And coming in the end of River Vantage. So yeah, I mean, we're looking at Off Kilter here. But just generally speaking, your mid game is going really, really well, off to a good start. And
yeah, once I make Off Kilter, I'm like, all right, this is a good run now. I have to focus up.
So what was your previous PB before you set this?
I think it was, I don't remember exactly. I think it was like a mid or low 37, but I actually had a 36, but I wasn't recording. It was a 3640. And I was so annoyed by it because I wasn't recording, and I was like, I think it was like my first run on, I was like, all right, I gotta get some practice going, and it was more than practice.
That is that's kind of scary to land a PB without recording. But to come back and
Yeah,
land it again shows me that you've got a fair amount of consistency.
this definitely made up for it.
Definitely made up for it to land this in a recorded run and to be on such a good pace too. What kind of skips, or if not skips, then just levels and routes are you do you really enjoy doing in this category?
That's a good question. I actually really enjoyed Danger Zone, which is kind of weird, but
No, I
after
love
doing
Danger Zone.
after doing the IL, the spinner hit, that's what it's called. The spinner hit for a while in IL, I just got really good at RTA, and
Right.
I hardly ever mess it up, and it looks really nice. So that's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a fancy one for sure. But you know, if you get a bad hit, then you're in for a paddling. So
That's the problem, but I've been doing pretty good at it. I've practiced it. I always practice that one before a run just to make sure, like, if I'm gonna mess up anything, I don't want it to be that one.
narrowly avoided a fall there on time capsule.
I've fallen off of that platform more times than I can count. I actually can't believe I didn't there.
Oh, haven't we all? And there it is, first try coggers.
Yep,
Beautiful
off tilt
start to
on
this
first
run.
try. Was
Under
already
11
early.
minutes, about a 10:45 coming out of chapter 3, which is again incredibly solid. You've obviously got a really good command over the control of your marble, and then landing so many skips first try. Very, very cool. Scary little edge hit there. Did you do that on
Yeah,
purpose?
No, I did.
Okay.
I get way too risky, and I try to jump off that platform as fast as possible, even though it doesn't really help as much as it's like worth. And I also don't know why I went for the bumper hit there. It was a weird bumper invasion. That's all
Yeah,
I can say.
yeah, a little scuffed. That's fine.
But it
You
works,
managed.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, you maybe lost less than 3 or 4 seconds total between all of those little tiny mistakes, which is a lot less than a reset. So nothing to worry about there at all. Oh, and this braid looks so good too. You know what? You're really going for almost everything so far in this run. Haven't seen any any strats that you could have gone for but didn't go for. At least up to this point in chapter 4.
Yeah, a big mentality. I'm sorry. I've always had is in the early chapters. I want to make it as fast as possible. I want to get like really good at making it fast,
Right.
so that I really just focus on like chapter 5 and 6, which is where all the mistakes happen. And then like once I get a good chapter 5 and 6, it's immediately just like a really good run.
Yeah, for sure. You're increasing your chances of finishing out a good run if you can get a good early game.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, for most runners, the amount of time that you can save, like by doing a incredibly good early game, is less than the amount of time you stand to lose by making a few mistakes later on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But yeah, you're still increasing your chances the most by getting off to this really good start, and obviously it's going to pay off really well.
Yeah, it's just that one thing I would hate to have is like I would have like a really good chapter 5 and 6, and it's like really rare for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I messed up a lot early game, and then I'm thinking like this could have been so good if I didn't screw up easy mistakes in the beginning. So that'll just be hanging over my head.
Well, that's one of the big differences between PB attempts, which is what you were doing here, and PBs that get set during races, because oftentimes in a race, you'll have mistakes early on where, you know, a PB attempt would probably reset, but then you end up with a really strong late game, and that's when we see those kind of early mistakes in a PB. But here, because you've been resetting, you've been going for those really strong beginnings, and now you've put yourself in a really, really good position to take one of the top spots in the leaderboards, which of course is what you did.
A lot of pressure though at this point, because I already knew I was set up for a good run.
Yeah, but you don't, because you're not using splits, you don't actually know how far ahead of your other PB you might be.
Yeah, that's true. But
Does
like
that
I
add
said,
stress
just
or give
needed-
you less stress than knowing?
Honestly, I kind of feel like it gives me less stress because it's like I'm not exactly sure, but at the same time I can tell like, okay, I just made all these skips, like I'm doing good. But I feel like if I knew exactly, like if I saw like the numbers like this is what your best possible time is, I'd be like, oh my god, I need to be perfect now.
Yeah. Sometimes it could definitely put some pressure on you. And again, the splits are there to help you if you need them, if they're actually helpful for you, and if not, then
Yeah.
you know what, they're never going to be required for submissions or anything like that.
Yeah, scuffed Gearhart there.
Yeah, just fell behind by half a cycle, which is not actually a big deal. Half a cycle on Gearhart is all of 2.5 or 3 seconds.
It's always just been like a really weird problem level. Like I always thought it's kind of like a medium difficulty, like just gem collection level, but it's messed me up for a lot of times for some reason. I don't know why I always have trouble with it.
Can be tricky. Getting into some turns here on Acrophobia, and good time to ask, are you using any kind of analog turning?
No, I've always been stock KVM, except for on some custom levels I use X input, but everything in the main game is completely stock.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually, Acrophobia is kind of a good place to see how you could save a little bit of time by implementing that.
Yeah.
However, being stock KVM, pretty cool in itself. Controller on that level actually feels really, really fun. Just trying to see how much you can hold on while accelerating through the turns.
Yeah.
But that's so hard. That's so hard to learn, to transition in between controller and keyboard. Very, very different.
Yeah, controller. I'd have to get used to controller. I actually have a Switch now, and I got marbled up on it, obviously. And trying to use like the controller, this joystick is just, it's such a huge difference.
Definitely. Well, I actually started Marble It Up after playing, Marble Blast on PC. And this was before Marble It Up was even on PC, so I was playing on Switch with the Switch Pro controller since this game came out. And I guess that's why I managed to get used to it early on.
Oh, I see.
Very nice Diamond in the Sky start. Let's see if we can finish out this route. And we do. Man, your consistency is really, really strong. Oh, I say that. And oh my gosh, that was okay. So that was the same mistake actually that Hatchet made during GDQ.
All it took was one more nat bounce at the end to save that, but
yeah, a natural bounce would have kind of taken advantage of your left spin and sent you a little further off to the side. But I mean, if that can happen to Hatchet, it can happen to anyone. So I wouldn't be embarrassed about that.
Kind of forgot about the Newton start there. I'd always do that. I go into the level just holding W instead of actually doing the strat.
Yeah, in the end, it's not going to end up saving you time versus just taking the cradle. But, again, it's very cool to see you going for all of these strats. Every strat that you're able to land, you're going for it. And, still most of them are coming out first try. Yeah, so Chapter 5, we're into the late game now. Speaking of strats that you're going to be going for, is there anything in particular of Chapter 5 that you're thinking about at this point in the run?
The only level I'm really worried about is Crystalline. I don't really go, at Chapter 5 and 6, I don't really go for anything crazy. I haven't gotten very good at the skips. Like Contraption skip, I'm terrible at. I don't even go for it. And that's just out of the question. And Crystalline is something that's like realistic, but every now and then I still mess it up. So I'm thinking like, please just let me get it. Don't let me lose like 10 seconds to something I practice so much. But everything else in Chapter 5, it kind of feels like Arky. It's just you're going around, you get the gems, you're done. It's like a filler chapter.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're not going for stay and skip, which, a few of the top runners in that kind of 37, 36 range are not going for. But then a few of them are as well. Then yeah, I guess Chapter 5 turns into a bit of a filler chapter. But I can definitely relate to you on Crystalline Matrix. That is probably the skip that gives me the most amount of trouble for how much time I've actually practiced it. That can be a pain in the butt. But yeah, just speaking about stay and skip, we're here on Staying Alive, and getting a 36 anything without stay and skip is kind of more impressive than getting a 36 with stay and skip in a way.
Yeah, I do really wish I could do stay and skip, and there are ways for
It's so
stock
hard.
KVM. But yeah, I feel like if I'm gonna go for that on anything, it's gonna be on maybe like if I somehow find motivation to do like a chapter run. But yeah, in full game, I feel like no matter how much I practice it, there's gonna be so much room for error when you're on stock KBM, and it's just not worth going for it because it's either like you get 40 seconds or you lose 40 seconds in your runs. So
Yeah, that's pretty much how it is. So yeah, we get to take a breather, take a sip, enjoy this kind of break in the middle of the run, and yep, this is pretty much what Staying Alive was intended to be by the developers. You have to wonder sometimes what they were thinking.
Not a huge fan of the auto scrollers. We got enough of those from MBG, and luckily we had trap launches, so that kind of.
Yeah, I don't mind having one of these, especially when it can be skipped. Although I'm sure they didn't intend that either.
Little close to death there. I
Little sketchy.
Happy about that.
Little sketchy. But yeah, you're finishing around, just around to the 20-minute mark, getting into Gordian. You know how to turn left, so that's good. And now you're still looking forward to Crystalline Matrix. And we'll not get too far ahead of ourselves with Chapter 6 or anything like that. But anything else that you were kind of focused on at this point of the run, or how are you feeling to be on this pace?
Well, I didn't mention this before, but once I get through like the early game and I realize I'm on pace, the only thing that's like in my head is Olympus, because I just can't stand it, and that's all I can think about when I'm on pace. Like, oh, I'm on great pace, but I'm gonna get a 3-minute Olympus, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, interesting. So we'll have to wait and see what kind of Olympus you end up getting. Here comes that Crystalline Matrix skip. And looks like you have enough spin for it. A very, very high launch, but you make it. Very good.
Yeah, I've always gotten a weird launch off of that crystal, and I'm not sure why. I assume it's something to do with my spin that I'm not doing right, but if it works, that's all I care about.
Definitely. Definitely. That one is a consistency... a consistency trouble for many players, including me. No contraption skip. Another skip which is very, very dependent on how much spin or how much grip, as some people say, that you can build up before you attempt it. And honestly, I don't blame you not for going for this one either, because I can't figure it out either.
Definitely one of the big skips that, like, even though I've practiced it, I feel like I haven't gotten any better at it. That's one that I've kind of just put on hold. And I'm just like, all right, well, I'm just going to have to take that 14 seconds because this isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, I think something has to click for that kind of... with that kind of trick that relies so much on the feel of it.
Yeah.
And until you get to that point, there's really no benefit in attempting to do it during a full game run. Uphill both ways. We've got all of our gems picked up. No rock skip just yet. What's that?
Oh, no, definitely. I always feel like I'm playing IL, like when I go up to that gem on the little pillar, I aim towards the time travel, and I'm like, nope, go to the gem. The IL brain always takes over whenever I'm trying to do a level.
Wow, really? That's actually really funny for me because I just never play individual levels, so I've never... honestly, I forget that the time travels are even there.
Wow, I really wish I could just like I see a time travel and I always think about getting it. Even if I don't go for it, I always think like, oh, I gotta get that. But I play an RTA, stay focused. It's like I've done a lot of IL both in this game and like MBG, so it's hard to get into like a full RTA mode. Just focus on get the gems and get to the goal immediately.
So yeah, going back to your Marble Blast Gold experience, then, did you have any success competitively as far as contesting world records or leaderboard spots or anything like that?
Yes, I do have a world record on under construction.
Oh, cool.
I think it's the 49th advanced level, I think.
Very similar level to this one, actually, that we're on.
Yeah, actually, it is. And I also want to get another one. I'm going for Points of the Compass, but it's very difficult. And if I can pull it off, I'll be very happy about that. But it's definitely giving me some trouble. Nothing in terms of like leaderboard or rating. I don't really grind levels for rating on that game. I just go for the world record.
Right. And 35-second vertigo, you know, very solid. Goes to show that you've got those fundamentals down for sure.
Yeah, learning that start on vertigo was a huge lifesaver. Once I figured that out, the rest of the level was just kind of doing it fast, which was, it already kind of worked for me. So vertigo wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it'd be in RT. I thought it would be a pain going into RT. I was like, all right, time to have half my deaths at the end of chapter 5 because of vertigo. But
Well, I'll tell you, before that start was developed, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah, that must have been. I guess that's a huge advantage of starting RTA kind of like late into the game's life, because now I get to learn all the up-to-date skips.
And you know what? As somebody who was kind of part of a lot of these developments, you know, I like to hear that, because a lot of the reason that so many of the routes I found was even routes that I can't even land myself, but you know, just trying to see the game get progressed, and then being able to see somebody new come in, like you, or like Twinks as well, when you guys did, and then taking advantage of those and pushing the game faster than we were able to. I like that. I think that's really cool. I love seeing kind of the fruits of all that labor.
Yeah.
Minor slowdown on Pit of Despair just from getting a little, pardon me, a little ahead of that cycle. And now we're to 25:45 for chapter 6.
Definitely good. But yeah, I can't think of a single time I've done Pit and not been like stopped by a basher at one point or another. I've never had like a straight shot to the end.
You're going too fast. Yes, speedrunners can go too fast. Confirmed. Oh man,
that's why I don't like cycle levels.
That paddle hit looks really good. This is a cycle level technically, although I'm really happy that we've managed to get rid of the cycle from the finish.
Yeah, this is a huge exception for me because of that. Like almost every like important cycle section can be skipped over, and that's why it's great, because it skips like a very disliked part of levels for me.
Oh gosh, the ending of this level on its own is a nightmare if you don't know how to skip it. Oh, but very clean skip for 45. Now we're in the Platinum Playground. So chapter 6, you're still thinking about Olympus, maybe? Anything else on your mind of, like, things that you want to make sure that you do right the first time?
I am kind of thinking about Tangle, because even though it's really one really thin beams, anything can go. So that's another one I'm thinking about. And
very thin beams on Tangle,
which isn't bad. Yeah, and Head in the Clouds too, kind of. Head in the Clouds isn't bad, but for some reason, again, another cycle level, so you know it's my favorite. But I always tend to mess it up for some reason. I'm not sure why, whether it's flying completely or like missing 2 cycles. I'm always doing so I'm kind of like, please just get a good Head in the Clouds.
Please get a good Head in the Clouds. Yeah, cycles, they really slow you down. You're either rushing to get the fastest possible cycle, or you're intentionally slowing down, and both of those options are not necessarily what you want to be doing. Yeah, so non-cycle levels that let you go at your own pace are always going to kind of have that advantage of being a little bit easier. A little bit easier to do well. Nice radius start. I like seeing that start that a lot of people are doing. I know it gets you on the same cycle as one of the older starts, but it also looks cooler. So
yeah, that one always worked, so I kind of went with it. I also kind of forgot about Radius. I was pretty worried for this one too, but the thing is with Radius, it's like if I make the start, then I'm like, all right, I'm fine. I got the rest of the level. But every once in a while, I'll kind of botch the start, and like, oh, here we go, and I time to go on a streak of that up.
Interesting little detour to go and touch the gravity surface above before dropping to the one below. I like seeing how
my radius is
it's the same speed. It's just interesting to see how different people do it.
I also can't really do the fast ending, which always bothered me, but it's worth losing a few seconds over trying to do it fast when I know I can't die.
Yeah, do what's consistent. I mean, you've got to practice that one away from runs before you can practice it in runs. That's just how it goes with a lot of these tricks. Oh man, this is such a good pace. We're only at 29 minutes.
Yeah, once I'm in chapter 6, I'm trying to avoid the timer because I know I'm gonna look at it and be like, oh wow. And like I said, I mess up head in the clouds.
Mess up Head in the Clouds. You know what? Actually, a good place to die if you are going to die on Head in the Clouds.
Yeah, it's like as close to the checkpoint as you're gonna get, so I can't be too mad about that.
But again, going for those little optimizations wherever you can, you know, jumping over one of those moving platforms to hit the second one instead of the first one. You're going for it. You're going for it. And the consistency that you're getting, the majority of these little skips that you're going for is still very high. Looking at Centripetal Force, and this is one where there is no safe place to die.
Yeah, not a fan of those. I definitely put a lot of practice into this one to make sure I'd not only do it, but make that fast cycle without any problems. Because I wanted to be like, when I go into this level, I don't want to be worrying. I need to just like, this needs to be a filler level because this is one I just don't want to die on.
Yeah, if you're not getting, like, it is okay that you can wait until the gem comes around the next time, but if you're then on a cycle that you're not familiar with, that can be a little bit scary. Yeah. Oh, very close to missing that first kickflip.
Yeah, that was way too close.
Setting up second kickflip with no checkpoint. You get it, so that's good.
Yeah, once I had made that second kickflip, I'm like, all right, this is a run. Focus. Like,
yeah.
You need to do this now.
I got to say, it takes some guts to go for a no checkpoint kickflip.
Yeah, I always just... I feel like I should get the checkpoint because I'm not very consistent with kickflips. I'm actually really glad I made it. But at the same time, it's like I try to get through it as fast as possible. And then when I do make it, I get like sub 35. And I just got so much time off of escalation.
Yeah, that is really good. And is that... Do you remember... I know we're not using splits right now, but do you remember from your previous run if you'd gotten that first try or not?
I think I did, but everything else was kind of...
Oh, no! Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I
That's...
wasn't... Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to go back and watch that again. When did that happen?
I'm not sure.
Oh my gosh.
When I was going down that, I was thinking like, all right, I'm really far away. There's no way, right? But,
I've never seen quite in that spot to get that desuctor glitch. You know, if you're not familiar with this, oh my gosh, that is a glitch that can happen. It's almost completely random.
Oh yeah, it's happened.
It's just like a rounding error from the game or something like that, but oh.
Yeah, it was especially annoying because I went for the safe version of Confluence 2, and then it happened. And then in this attempt, I'm going for the faster version that's working. Like, I should have just gone for the fast version. Why'd I play it safe?
Yeah, I guess it doesn't always pay off, huh?
Very paranoid going across those two destructors right there. I'm thinking, like, please just don't right next to the goal, because I know that happens.
Man, see, the problem is that's not your fault. Nobody would ever say that that's your fault.
Yeah.
And yet, that might be what prevents you from getting a 35 in this run.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It was after I was actually like really looking at that. Like, would this have been a 35 without that? And it would have been really, really close. I think it would have been like maybe 36:02.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% sure. But either way, I lost like 20 seconds doing it. And I wish I hadn't.
That's so sad. So, I mean, like, this game doesn't have a lot of bugs, honestly. It's fairly stable. That is one of the only real examples of something that can go horribly wrong during a run that's not your fault.
Yeah, that and dits, but otherwise there's really not much that can...
Not a whole lot of things that can go wrong, yeah. Apparently they have no way to fix it, so they just removed that entire level and that mechanic from the game for the Marble Up Mayhem version, which is just so funny. They were like, nope, we can't fix this. We tried.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of Confluence, so you know what? I have no problem with them. Can they do Olympus next?
Can they remove Olympus next? I don't think so. I don't think it's that problematic from a casual perspective, but
yeah, very liked level. I actually have noticed that Olympus, it's like looking at the Speedruns website, a lot of people actually have good time on Olympus. So
oh yeah, for sure.
Very liked level.
A lot of people enjoy playing this level. People like going fast. People like getting up to that top speed, and
Yeah.
You know, the sort of unpredictability of it can be exciting, at least. It's certainly fun to watch. It's not always fun to do during a run, but it is one of the most exciting parts of the run to watch, no matter who you're watching.
Yeah.
You just never know what's going to happen on Olympus.
Yeah, and that's where the problem lies.
That is exactly where the problem lies.
That's how I lose 20 seconds on it, because I refuse to practice it.
Well, we get, looks like you're coming in for a 2:15, which is, you know, only like, what, 10 or 13 seconds at the most slower than what you could do ideally.
It's better than I thought I got. So yeah, Olympus was very nice to me, because I've had runs where I get closer to 3 minutes. So I was definitely celebrating in my head at that point. I'm like, I'm on this pace, and I just got like one of the best Olympics I've ever gotten.
That happens for sure. Man, that strat looks so cool.
Very slow, but I'm totally down to lose a little bit of time on Tangle if it means not hitting a trim and going off the edge.
Yeah, dying at that point is just a little bit devastating. You have to start over from the beginning, and it's not easy to do, even second try.
Yeah.
And now we're only at 35 minutes and coming into Stratosphere. What a great run this has been.
Yeah, I'm very happy. I'm just, at this point, I'm like, this is perfect. Just don't do anything stupid on Strato. Don't hit an ice cube, please. Just do everything normal.
So looking forward from this point, I mean, we've got the Super Bowl coming up, of course. Anything else you have as goals that you've set for yourself, or any other plans for Marble Up in the near future?
What I'm doing right now, or at least trying to do, is I'm trying to bring my records down a little bit lower, because I have the records that like I want to have, but I feel like the times aren't great. Like some of them are only records by a fraction of a second, and I kind of want to optimize them.
Right.
And that's in terms of IL. I also want to land a couple more skips, like retrograde skip. That's a huge one that I definitely want to get to. But in terms of RTA, I feel like I want to just try to bring, maybe if I find the drive to play RTA more, I want to bring my time lower using the strats I know, because I feel like all the strats that I haven't like learned yet is stuff that I'm just not going to do. Like,
Okay.
obviously I can't do it, but contraption, I could maybe learn contraption.
But yeah,
I'm happy
you
with
want to
that.
optimize what you already have mostly, and you're
Yeah.
not too interested in a bunch of new skips. But 36:22 is what we just came in with. And our video is not really cooperating there. 36:22, a fantastic time, or 36:20, I guess was the actual time after it was retimed. So
I actually didn't know that. I didn't check that.
well, you've got 36:22 here on your timer, and 36:20 as the video description. So I'll have to go back and check the leaderboards later. Anyways, fantastic run. Really, really, really well done, and I look forward to seeing more of your future runs. And yeah, you were saying you might throw in contraption skip, or you might learn a couple things, but you're not interested in pushing those, stay-in skips or anything like that, at least for the time being.
Yeah, chances are I'm going to try to go for a sub 36, doing what I know, and hope it kind of all works out.
Very cool. Yeah, I can't wait to see it, and I also can't wait to see you in the Super Bowl. You're going to be one of the ones to watch for sure. Coming in that invitational and being one of the front runners potentially. So we'll see how that goes.
Definitely.
Anything else you wanted to mention or say as we wrap up this Speedrunner showcase?
That should be good. Thanks for having me on.
Great. Well, look forward to the next one, and I look forward to seeing you in the Super Bowl.
See you then.
Bye.